Welcome to Episode 2 of Where in the World, Season 3, the detailed showcase of cities and locations that have been visited in the Arcane Adventures campaign setting. For Season 3, we follow the story as it unfolds within the nation of Esmeen. As always, in each episode, we'll have a map on screen that details the general location of the place we are talking about during that episode. Let's jump right in to Episode 2 of Season 3, Where in the World, Fort Velcrest. Waves crash along the rocky shores down below, 138 feet below, that is. Situated on a series of stone rises eroded by time and war, on the northern shores of Esmeen and the northern rim of the Disminster Swamps, this well-known military operation has seen its fair share of turmoils and victories. Fort Velcrest, originally named Fort Carloman, is an Esmeen stronghold that notoriously defends Disminster Depths, with both its military might and naval presence. Housing some 18,000 or more troops, this fort is one of the most active installations in modern times, and has been so through the majority of the Great Iazlan War. The operation was constructed and established in 5299 as Fort Carloman, under the command and presence and named after Admiral Ural Carloman, who commanded the Imperial Navy of Esmeen at the time. When first built, the operation set at the top of a sheer cliff overlooking Disminster Depths. Over the many years, additions, expansions, and renovations built additional structures across some of the stone islets that rose out of the choppy seas below. In 5378, the Windsau Empire successfully conquered the region and held it by occupation and blockade. During the battle, the fall of Fort Carloman, Admiral Carloman defected to Windsau, but was later executed for war crimes against it anyway. When Esmeen forces retook the fort in 5412, they renamed it Fort Velcrest, meaning the fort that crests the tide. Or better put, a display of power and strength that the fort held. Fort Velcrest, since it was retaken by Esmeen, has not fallen despite several attempts by Windsau and even Bupilisu to conquer it. The unique design of the fort, its natural defenses and its man-made ones, and the centralized naval command in the region make it one of the most formidable areas to conquer. The installation is separated into three areas, one on the mainland, called Anchor, and two on plateaued rocks that jut up from the sea, called Vale Center and Outlook, respectively. Each of these islets are connected by strong cables and armored cars that transport troops between locations. The Anchor serves as a barracks, mess hall, and preparations area, along with a horse stables and various other storage units. Vale Center, the middle area of the facility, serves as a centralized command post where strategic planning occurs. It is also the most defensible of the three positions. Outlook, as the name suggests, overlooks the Disminster Depths, with its lighthouse and naval command facilities. Each of the three segments would be hard enough to take on their own, but all three in conjunction make it extremely difficult to infiltrate and even less so to occupy. Fort Velcrest is also an impressive in other regards, notably in its display of cultural values, especially adopting a traditional style and using accordion design. The accordion style, much like the Eastern style, uses pagodas and zucuris. The style is regularly seen among northern shores of Esmeen, though less common as it once was. Fort Velcrest copies the same style with cherry wood walls and green tiled roofs. Despite the elegant and presumably fragile architecture, the interior of the fortress is reinforced by iron and stone, making the facility quite sturdy. In the current time, in the year 7309, Fort Velcrest serves as the command center for the First Fleet of the Esmeen Imperial Navy, a training site for both naval and military troops, and is largely responsible for controlling and defending the entire Disminster Swamps region, along with the northernmost areas of the Sulkay Waste and the southwestern portion of the eastern Iazlan Desert. General Sanash and Admiral Zorith are two highly prominent individuals that frequent and supervise the facility. To reach Fort Velcrest, one must travel through the Disminster swamps, either by heading northeast from the town of Oko Heights or heading west from the small settlement of Stilt Swamp. On the shoreline that separates Disminster Swamps from Disminster Depths proper, an inclined ridge is home of Fort Velcrest. Despite the marshy and murky swamps and the crashing waves from the nearby sea, Fort Velcrest holds strong in its position. We hope you've enjoyed this closer look at Fort Velcrest and have found the details about it to your interest. Everything you have heard regarding Fort Velcrest is of great interest to the nation of Esmeen, as this is an official military operation, and it is prohibited to repeat such valuable information to any enemies of Esmeen. Otherwise, you will be convicted as a highly treasonous individual of the state and will be executed. That's all for this episode of Where in the World. We'll see you next time.